Hello everyone, Fanta here. You're watching FANTAVISION, and today I am discussing the fact that E3 has not really been sufficiently replaced. No, I think that E3 is still sorely missed because everybody's going digital, okay? Everybody is trying to recreate the magic that Nintendo makes every single time they do a Nintendo Direct, because Nintendo has pretty much figured out the perfect way to showcase their titles almost every time. They definitely miss, a couple of directs here and there. They're kind of duds. They're not great, but most of the time, the presentation, the way it's done, everything like that is the best in the business. Microsoft has done something that was not that great. It was just It didn't feel that special when they were talking about the Xbox Series X. I know there's another one coming up, which will hopefully give some real details like price. Kind of important. Hopefully some more games. PlayStation did theirs. It felt closer to a Nintendo Direct. Again, wasn't quite there. Really close though. This is probably the best effort they've had since they started doing digital events, because they've pulled out of E3 since, not this year, but the year before that as well. They have slowly tried to just do what Nintendo's been doing, because I'm sure it saves a ton of money. And, they even pulled out of the floor. So they want to save even more money than Nintendo was, because Nintendo still had a presence on E3's floor. And, the floor isn't what I miss about E3. And it's not the fact that their presentations are still kind of rocky with using, like, Zoom and all these different things that are just kind of bleh. It feels like without E3, without this huge buildup, all of these presentations are just missing the oomph that they felt like they had to have when E3 was around, because they knew they had to give some big release dates, they had to give some big announcements, they had to delve into detail because they spent all the money. Everybody's been looking forward to this one specific day, and they are competing with everybody else during that same week. Now, there's none of that. They don't have the same kind of pressure. They don't have the same kind of having to outdo each other to be remembered throughout that week. And because of that, there's not as much excitement. They don't have to really show us anything super exciting. This Ubisoft presentation didn't give a shit about any of it. Nothing was really that new. They showed off a new Battle Royale. Who gives a shit? There's like a billion Battle Royale games now. Like I said, the PlayStation event was pretty good. But again, if this was E3, they would have had to show a price. They do that at E3. They have to, because they spent all the money to be there. This is where all of the eyes are looking. Now, PlayStation, when are they going to show a price? It's so frustrating. They would not be able to drag their feet as much if there was an E3. And because of that, all these digital events are just not up to snuff. And if this is the future of gaming announcements, it's going to be a very frustrating future and a very boring one, because they're just not... they'll get better, I'm sure. They'll get higher production, but there's just less detail about these games. They showed off at the end of the Ubisoft thing like a trailer, a cinematic trailer of Far Cry 6. No detail about gameplay, no gameplay at all, nothing, just a trailer. What are you supposed to get out of that? You don't even get to see... You don't see nothing. You see nothing of the game. If they had said this is a movie coming out, it would have been the exact same thing, because there's no gameplay. We don't know what it is going to be about. It's just another big regime that you're going to have to take down as the main player. That's it. It's the same story every single time with these Far Cry games nowadays. And I want to see gameplay, because that's what we're all interested in. But when you don't have a massive, expensive thing, you don't have to flesh it out. It's just a live stream video that you put out. All of the budget for these things has been severely cut. And I'm sure they love saving all that money, but at the same time, they're losing out on future sales. And they're sure as hell not building any hype, especially when half the time things go wrong. Like, Ubisoft tried to have everybody like, oh yeah, we're going to entice you by giving away a free game and then some other DLC that maybe 5% of people care about. But everybody wanted that free game. So everyone's trying to log in at the same time. But because, of course, they're a video game company, they don't understand how to handle a large amount of people trying to do something at once, even though they have launched plenty of multiplayer games. It's just... it's like the same issues every single time with these companies. It's like they never learn that this is going to happen. You're giving away a free game. Of course everyone's going to want it. I don't understand. Where's the logic? I feel like these just should be better than E3. There's so much missing potential here because you have so much time to finally craft and edit a video that you're going to put up online. You can make it perfect. No more canned, awful stage demos of people playing the game. You can have real gameplay. You can have real experiences. You can do so many different, unique, and interesting things. Devolver Digital, I think, went a little bit too far this year because 90% of their presentation was just this overarching story that they've been building up for like the past 2 or 3 years. It's entertaining. It's cringy. It's weird. Overall, it's an enjoyable experience, but they like talked about like 5 or 6 games, whereas before they had a lot more games shown off. There was a lot more excitement for like real stuff that was coming out. And this time it was just more about, yes, industries are awful. Yes, it's stupid how much we're bought into the hype and how much we want to watch basically commercials for video games. I get that. I love it. I love the satire of it all. I love the spoofing, the parodies, all that sort of thing. It's phenomenal. But you don't need to make the whole presentation about that. Or make the presentation longer and include more real games. I'm just going off on individual events at this point. But the point still stands. For other companies, they should look to what Devolver is doing. Make it more interesting. Seriously. And they showed gameplay. Like, at least they showed gameplay for things. Devolver showed gameplay along with having some weird-ass stories. So you know what? I take away any criticism I had. Yeah, they only showed 5 to 6 games, but you know what? It's still more than Ubisoft showed off. They showed off a couple phone games. Those don't count. Nobody wants to see those in these big presentations. Nobody gives a shit. We know what you're doing. You're just trying to take advantage of the fact. It's basically a mid-roll ad. You have everybody excited to see what big announcements at the end, and you want to see all the stuff in the middle, but in the middle you're also putting these mid-roll ads of your stupid phone games that nobody gives a shit about. And all the companies are doing that now. And that's exactly where they put it every single time, in the dead center of these stupid presentations, just to make sure that they don't lose viewers, because they know if they put them at the end, no one's watching. If they put it in the beginning, they're just going to tune out and do other things. But if you're in the middle, you're already invested, you're already in the presentation, you're going to watch their stupid phone game. And again, Ubisoft showed off like nothing. No gameplay, just nothing. It's just very disappointing. PlayStation, a lot of the games they showed off, no gameplay, just trailers. And like I said, they have so much more capability to do gameplay. They can do live gameplay. That's what Nintendo does with their Treehouse Live. Do something like that. Keep stealing from Nintendo if you're going to keep doing that. Steal the good aspects that your competitors are doing. Recreate that. Instead of just doing a cinematic trailer of Far Cry 6, show us somebody playing some Far Cry 6 at the end. That's going to excite people even more. They're like, holy shit, I'm going to stick around even longer. I want to watch this person play the game that I'm excited about. They finally showed off some gameplay for Assassin's Creed. That's good. But every single game should have gameplay. Unless it's just a teaser for something that's coming out in the future, it should have gameplay. Which really, Ubisoft didn't really announce anything new now, did they? But they would have if this were an E3 presentation. And that's the issue. They don't feel like they have to do anything that's that special. Oh yeah, we'll do another Ubisoft Forward in the future. Don't worry. There'll be another one. You gotta tune in again. You gotta come on back. You gotta tune in again. But the thing is they're gonna keep losing viewers the more that they do these, because people are just gonna get sick of it. They're gonna be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to hear about like 3 games and very little gameplay. No new announcements. People are just going to wait for the articles to come out after your presentation if you keep doing too many. That's why E3 was so special. I hate everyone involved with E3. I really do. They're incompetent. They lost everybody's information. They're run by mostly company execs. They're not the best people in the world. But I love the fact that it was like the Super Bowl of gaming. It's when everybody had to show up with their A game. It's gone now. There is no Super Bowl. And I don't know if there ever will be. This E3 could be dead. And this could be the future of what game conferences are like. I liked the spectacle of it all. I enjoyed the presentations. Sometimes it was even interesting to see what they did with the stage. Just the way they set up the stage was sometimes interesting. The different events and things that you remember, the cringe moments, all these different things that you don't get without an E3. I mean, what's an E3 without a cringe compilation? Come on. I'm worried that this is going to be how all presentations are going to be in the future. They have been improving, so they could at some point make these better, but it feels like if they feel like they can do as many of these as they want, which they can, they're just not going to make them as special as when it was just E3 that we heard everything. So I'm going to miss it. It was a lot of fun to comment during that time just because of the big announcements, the over-the-top-ness of it all, just all of the different things about it. I'll really miss E3 if it really is dead, because this is not it. This ain't it. It's this digital replacement that they're trying to push on us as this is the future. We're done with E3. It's not it. It doesn't compare to what it was like when E3 actually existed. Even when E3 was at its worst, it was still better than this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Maybe I'm taking crazy pills and these are better than E3 to you, and you think that they'll actually improve in the future instead of get worse, which is what I'm worried that they'll be. I think it's going to be like a quarterly conference call with these different game companies. They're going to give us the newest trailers. Ooh, I don't know. It just seems like it's going down a road that will be less special and less fun than E3. I do have to say, though, before I wrap this up, at least there's no like musical performances. Ubisoft at least didn't show off a new Just Dance game, but those are fun to have in cringe compilations. I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe for more content. And as always, have a fantastic day. See you guys.